Let me pull open the Dunkey video. Let's watch Dunkey.
Video game industry? No. Nuh-uh. Nope. Video games, you just pissed me off. This year's E3 was a goddamn joke, and everyone involved, f*** you. This was the most sellout, embarrassing bullshit I have ever witnessed.
I mean, just going off the top before I see Dunkey's take, so I don't have my opinion of influenced. I thought this E3 was quite bad, but the standout for me was the Xbox conference, which I thought tried pretty hard. I thought Xbox did a pretty good job. It didn't feel sellouty. They went from game to game pretty well. They had some cool announcements. They finally gave us Silksong.
Let's check out.
Let's not. The Rock is worth $320 million.
Oh, and it had this, dude. Yeah, The Rock. The Rock shilling Zoa in a rambling, incoherent speech. Like, for no reason, they just cut to The Rock, and he just ran. He didn't have any lines or anything. He was just rambling, talking about all the different businesses he wants you to invest in. It was crazy.
Check this out. An iPhone.
Whoa.
Why are Twitch streamers on here pretending like they care about video games?
There were like games in GameCube that were like this. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of, what does it remind me of? It reminds me of those like old school GameCube games.
You don't play no games. Go talk about Johnny Depp's trial or some shit. The only Twitch streamer that plays games is Pete Dorr. He wasn't even on there.
I've been playing platformers pretty much every day for the past few years. I love Jump King. I love other platformers. Jump King's really good. And
they're remaking Resident Evil 4. Doesn't really need a remake. They're remaking Last of Us 1. Definitely doesn't need a remake.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I think the Resident Evil 4 remake's fine. I mean, I think I said it live when I was watching it, that I thought Resident Evil 4 still holds up. It's still great. But to be honest, I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to go back and set up an emulator or whatever and play Resident Evil 4. And so a remake, and they're on a hot streak. They've put out a lot of good Resident Evil shit recently. And so, like, give them some credit, give them some slack. I think there's no problem with that remake, and I'm kind of stoked for it.
The other big remake is Knights of the Old Republic.
I'm stoked for this, too.
This game is old. Older than you remember. People who played this back on the original Xbox still consider it to be one of the best Star Wars games, and it's mostly because it has HK-47, who is a funnier character than they've ever had before in Star Wars. This studio is great at making unintentional comedies, and I do not understand how they got the Star Wars license. It's kind of like if they let Tetsuya Nomura make a Disney game. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I'm actually gonna play this. In the 90s, Square was famous for its dedication to storytelling in video games. Today, Square Enix is famous for its dedication to the worst storytelling in video games. Chaos Man was so dumb it was funny. Octopath was soulless. Final Fantasy 15.
I thought Octopath was supposed to be great.
The story. And this is why I have to play Kingdom Hearts 4, for the funniness of it all.
There's a lot of Final Fantasy.
Which one is the one with Sephiroth?
Hi everyone. In 2019, Modern Warfare changed everything.
Name one thing Modern Warfare changed.
We actually copied Ori and the Blind Forest because that game sold really well.
That's good because you just do something that somebody else does.
Yeah.
They did a really good job with their creativity and taking a jump off the, creative ledge.
Jump into the next game. It's from Neo Interactive, and it's called Samurai Zero.
You mean Katana Zero.
Select your samurai.
Oh, it actually is called that. They showed a billion indie games. There was a show called The Wholesome Direct, and the highlight of that show is when Leah called it the Loathsome Direct. Last year there was 9 soup-type games. This year there are 200 frog-type games. Frog Sword, Frog Song, Ball Frog, Time
Frogs
Frog
are cute.
Island, Here Comes Froggy, Frog RPG, Star Frog, Fancy Frog, Skate Frog, Frog Gun.
It's a good time to like frogs.
Gun is a frog.
Honor 6 froggies.
Devolver's presentation again tried its hardest to take attention away from their games and place it on themselves.
Man, he kind of glossed over the fact that this game looked fucking awesome. They had some good games. I mean, you know what the problem is? They're just a small they're a small publisher. They had 4 games. So they kind of tried to spice it up. I don't blame them, really, for trying to spice it up and make it interesting so that somebody tunes in. I think if I'm Devolver, I feel proud of that because they had more viewers than they probably would have, and people consistently tune. Like, people consider Devolver a conference, and their games look pretty good. So I think overall I was pretty impressed.
Everyone thought Rockstar would show their next game. They didn't, but Rocksteady did. It's been 7 years since Arkham Knight, and these guys are finally back with Left 4 Dead Shark. The thing with co-op is that the game is no longer a $60 buy-in. It's a $240 buy-in. Last year, It Takes Two had this great setup where only one person had to actually own the game, and the game was incredible. If Xbox is smart,
game was great.
they'll put this thing on Game
I want to play
Pass.
it. I want to play it with Ari.
Match.
Anything else you want to add?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alan Wake 2? No way this is real. There are only 2 human beings that have ever played the game Alan Wake. Me and my friend Woa. If anybody else says they played Alan Wake, they are lying to you. Making Alan Wake 2 is like if for some reason they decided to make a Knack 2. God of War looks amazing. It's still slated to come out this year. Probably won't, but when it does, there ain't no way it's gonna be able to match up against this next game. Sonic Frontier. The second I heard open world Sonic, I envisioned one of the greatest comedy masterpieces of all time. Looking at the gameplay, I am very disappointed that Sonic is not constantly clipping through the terrain, but the developers have clarified that this is not actually an open world game. No, Sonic Frontiers is an open zone game. It's very Strand-like in that sense.
An open zone
I'm
game.
excited to announce a special partnership between Xbox Game Studios and one of the greatest creative minds and innovators in our industry.
これから Xbox
This was so
Thank
funny.
you, Kojima-san. We're thrilled to have Kojima Productions.
Meanwhile, at Jeff Keighley's house, they held the Dead Space event, where
Yeah,
every game
it
shown
was.
was the game Dead Space.
It was
Here's
a lot
what
of Dead Space.
That's the Callisto Protocol, my bad.
That's something brand new.
We want this to feel like Dead Space.
And my favorite, the most anticipated open world RPG of the last 20 years.
Zelda. Oh. Starfield was the big reveal of this year's E3. Turns out it's actually No Man's Sky, but with shooting. But the shooting is really sluggish and it's wonky looking. But there's 1,000 planets. The concept behind this game is exciting. It's something that really taps into your imagination. Flying out into space and exploring the universe, learning about different societies and ecosystems. However, Bethesda was already struggling to keep up with modern standards 7 years ago.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
And now with games like Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Red Dead 2, Sonic Frontiers, these huge games pushing the limits of scope and...
I just don't trust Bethesda. I just don't. And like every time Bethesda says something more ambitious, that makes me more scared. I wish they would just do something small. Being ambitious on a big game and then delaying the game and then sort of undelaying it, it's all got signs of Cyberpunk, dude. It's got big Cyberpunk energy.
It's time for a new look at Honkai
There we
Star
go.
Rail, an upcoming open world space RPG. Yeah, a lot of space today from...
Yeah, I mean, look, he's harsh, but he's fair. And to be honest, I think Dunkey's earned it, bro. I think I agree with most of his takes there. He didn't mention Pentatemp, but I thought that was really cool. It looked very different. The only other thing, it's Silksong. Silksong got announced, dude, which is already like, that's fucking E3 for me. You give me a Silksong date, you know it's actually gonna hit it. It's not gonna be delayed. That's fucking huge.